What is up, YouTube? Dottz Gaming here with another tutorial today. So as I promised in my last video, this tutorial is going to cover key binding. So for those of you who have no idea what I'm even talking about, key binding is assigning an ability to a button press. So let's say I press 2, I will cast Howling Blast. So instead of having to take the time to click on it, I can just press 2 and boom, the ability will go. So for those of you who click already, you're probably wondering, why should I switch to key binding? Because the switch to key binding from clicking is an extremely tough learning curve. I remember when I first started doing it, it was really hard and my gameplay suffered before it got better. But when it got better, it was miles past my past skill level. So key binding benefits are faster ability usage. You do not have to look and click and move your mouse. You just press the button and boom, the ability goes. You'll get to know your buttons so well that you will eventually pretty much have them memorized. In addition, there's less mistakes, there's less clicking, like misclicking, stuff like that. You don't have to look down at your ability bars to not see what's going on up on the screen. In addition, quicker turning. So when you keybind, you will start turning with your mouse. I'm going to teach you guys how to turn with your mouse. So instead of just, slowly turning with, WASD, you can just walk straight, strafe right, strafe left, and then turn with your mouse, and it's so much quicker. So, as I said, learning to keybind is hard at first, but when you get it, your game will be so much better than it used to be. I promise that. Now, keybinding is an extremely unique thing. How I keybind is not how you're probably going to keybind. It's not how your friend keybinds. Everyone has their own unique style to it. But I'll show you what I do and give you some tips and tricks to get started. So, in terms of recommended hardware, I recommend you get a Razer Naga mouse. While it's not as important nowadays as it was back when we had a lot more abilities, I still recommend it because I personally use my Naga keys for my arena targeting so that my left hand can use my ability to do all of my abilities while my right hand will do all of my targeting. It makes things a lot easier for me personally. So we're going to start with movement, the movement keybinds. So I know a lot of people use a lot of different crazy shit. Like I know people use Z and X to move with just strafing, and no. I wanted to make my switch comfortable. So I still use W to move forward, I use A to strafe left, D to strafe right, and then I hold right click down and use that to turn. So that is how I move around. So strafe, still using my mouse to turn, strafe, still using my mouse to turn. You are gonna unbind S from backpedal. Under no circumstances should you need to backpedal, so just unbind it, take it off. A good exercise that one of my friends showed me when he first taught me to start keybinding to practice moving is walk straight, jump and spin in a line, and make sure you're still going in the same direction. This will get you used to moving around with the mouse and the sensitivity. So that's movement. Movement is pretty simple. It's going to take a little bit of practice to get used to if you're used to keyboard turning, but trust me, being able to strafe, I'll show you like on a dummy. Being able to strafe around your opponent and being able to move quickly with them is critical, especially for melee classes. So being able to just like quickly strafe around your opponent is just so key. If you're just trying to keyboard turn, it's going to be way too slow. So in terms of actual binds, what buttons besides 1 through 0 should I use? So personally, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are my main frequent abilities. I also use, so look down at your keyboard, I use Q, E, R, T, F, G, V, C, X, Z, and S. Now you're probably like, that's a lot of buttons, I don't have that many. You have to classify your abilities and where you put them on your keyboard. So for example, I put my most used abilities on 1 through 5 and R, because for me, R is a very easy keybind. It is just comfortable. It's my blood tap. I hit it a lot. I need to be comfortable with it. And Also, a great tip, try to keep things consistent between your classes. So for me, on all of my classes, if like my Q, I have Strangulate. On all of my classes, I have a CC, a stun, a silence, whatever on Q, so that I just get used to it. All of my kicks are always on E. My executes are always on T. My charge, gap closer, death grip, always on V. You know, you have to classify things with how, you know, put them in certain spots based on the type of ability it is. So, like big defensive cooldowns or your burst cooldowns, you do not want to put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Q, E, R, T, F, V, C, because if you accidentally click them, you're going to have a huge waste. So I like to put them on shift modifier, you know, shift 1, shift 2. Me, I have mine on shift 4, shift C. I have Lichborn on Z. Stuff like that. So, focus macros. I know a lot of people make these big fancy focus macros where they just have it on one button, so like their focus and regular strangulate would just be on Q, but if you hit shift Q, I just like to keep it simple so I can look at it and I know what's going on. So as you can see on my ability bars, so see this middle bar right here? I have 1, shift 1 straight above it, 2, shift 2 straight above it. It makes it easy for me to look at it. So my focus strangulate is on shift Q. My focus kick is on shift E. My focus grip is on shift V. So you need to, I put shift, my focus macros on shift modifiers. Now in terms of arena targeting, so let's assume you have a Razor Naga here. I personally put mine on the front row of my Naga. And then those are my arena targeting macros, so I can target arena 1, target arena 2, target arena 3, and then shift clicking those will focus the targets. As well, if I play Unholy, I keep my pet control on my Naga, so I put it on like the 4 button, which is the second row back from the bottom where my thumb naturally sits, so I can quickly control my ghoul with no problem. So if you're watching this video as whatever class, it doesn't really matter, how you should classify your buttons, this is what I do. 1 through 5 frequent abilities, as I've said before. I like Q and E. E is I like kick. Q is a CC. R, T I like for my execute personally. R, F, V, and C, do what you like. I like to put a very, very comfortable ability on R. Something I need to click a lot because R is just a very comfy keybind for me. I like to put my burst cooldown on shift 4. I don't have any reason why. I just like to do it. And then, honestly, the rest of your abilities, you know, shift C, shift T, shift R, they'll customize them however you'd like. My biggest thing, and I also put, like, on X, like, in Z, I have abilities that you don't click too often because Z and X for me are very uncomfortable. Same thing with G, you know, ones with, like, bigger cooldowns, like 60 seconds, stuff like that. And I have 6 actually bound to my cancel all auras macro so that, you know, 6 is a reach, but if I need to click it, it's there. So honestly, my biggest tip to you guys when you start keybinding is to play with a setup for a little bit. Don't continually change your binds and continually move them around, because I had that bad habit when I first started. I kept trying to move things around and make things more comfortable, but then I ended up forgetting where things were. You know, put all your abilities somewhere comfortable, stick with them, and, you know, learn the setup. Honestly, it's going to take a little bit to learn. It's going to be a hard adjustment, but take my word for it. I saw the most improvement in my gameplay. Forget guides, forget anything else. When I started keybinding is when I found the most improvement in PvP. So I definitely recommend, if you are serious about PvPing, keybind. Definitely keybind. I have everything fucking keybound. I don't click nothing. So, I hope this video helped you guys. Thumbs it up, like, most importantly, please subscribe. Please subscribe. So, I hope this helped. Stay frosty, guys. Have a good day.